Hi, everybody. It's episode 478 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Doing alright.
I'm tired.
You got the house to yourself, right, Rich?
No. Kwame's still here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He couldn't get out of academy to go.
What academy is he in?
You don't... I thought I talked about it. He's a CO, corrections office.
Oh, maybe you did. I just don't remember.
Yeah, he's a
Oh,
CO.
Good for him.
So he's in police academy for a CO. And so he couldn't get out of... They planned this trip only about 6 months ago.
Only about 6 months ago.
I mean, when it comes to Disney, you need about a year and a half. A year to a year and a half to properly plan a Disney trip. And they brought it up about 6 months ago. Which is much of the reason why I'm not there. So yeah, he was going through the courses and the training and everything to be accepted into academy, and he wouldn't have been able to go. They weren't sure when he was going to be in academy, so he couldn't commit to anything throughout this year. That does make sense. For more than a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does make sense. It's not like he's just taking a week off of work or even regular college classes or something.
I mean, if he misses more than 3 or 4 days, he's fired, basically.
Oh wow, yeah. You know what? I guess that makes sense. They have to be kind of strict to make sure that you're not going to flake or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much. It's his personal stuff, but he might have gotten hurt, and they had to, even though he got hurt during the course of academy, and he had to go. They brought him to hospital and everything. They still gave him a 0 for the next day because he wasn't able to participate.
I mean that sucks, but I get it. Just because of what the job is, but damn.
Yeah, right.
I didn't realize it was that
cutthroat.
You gotta be there and you gotta be on it all the time.
They have gotten in trouble because 1 or 2 of the cadets have not bought the right lunchbox. You need to bring a specific, whether you eat lunch or not, you need to bring a specific lunchbox. And 1 or 2 of them have not. And so pretty much every day for the first 2 weeks, they had to come home and write a 500-word essay, which they would count the words, but they don't read the substance of the essay.
Jeez.
That's insane. I also do not understand why they have to bring a lunchbox if they're not eating lunch.
It's part of the uniform.
That's stupid.
It's part of the uniform.
That doesn't change. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
They're a squad. They have to bring the entire... It's the police, man. It's the police.
No, I get that, but a lunchbox is not a uniform. If you do not eat lunch, it is actually just a hindrance at that point.
But see, that's the thing. They get the lunch break. They get the time for a lunch break. They should have a lunch because, I mean, you're doing physical activity and stuff as well. You have to keep your energy up. You should be eating a lunch. You should be bringing a lunch to eat.
I do physical stuff at work. I don't eat lunch.
I can't if I wait too long after, well, especially with acid reflux now, if I wait too long after eating breakfast, I start to feel sick without lunch. If I don't eat breakfast or lunch, I feel sick.
I mean, yes, if I don't eat breakfast or lunch, I don't feel well. But when I have a client...
if I eat breakfast and then take too long to eat lunch, I feel sick. But if I don't eat breakfast all day and I don't eat lunch all day, I'll feel fine.
Yeah, that is weird. But yeah, if I have a client that I have to go to, especially if it's an all-day client, I don't eat lunch. I'll get something in the morning to eat for breakfast, and then I eat dinner around 6. I do it because I don't want to stop and have to work longer because I decided to eat lunch. Because if I skip my lunch break, I get to leave an hour earlier, and I would rather leave an hour earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's another Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's another Wednesday.
Yeah, it is.
It's been a long weekend. It is only Wednesday.
I know. I forgot that with the holiday on Monday that our trash was picked up today. Because I was thinking today was Tuesday and was going to put trash out. Nope, it's Wednesday. Trash already got picked up.
So
Whoops.
Monday was Indigenous Peoples Day. This was a holiday for most government-run entities and banks and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
My job is not off on Monday. For some of the bank holidays, some of the stock exchange holidays, my company is not off. Indigenous Peoples Day / Columbus Day is one of them. So I bust my ass on Monday working, completely forgetting that it's a holiday. And then Tuesday I clock into work, and I'm looking at my numbers for my reports of stuff that needs to get done that day. And, like, none of the numbers changed after I did, like, 200 of these loans and these loans and 50 of these and this and that and blah, blah, blah. None of my numbers changed from the day before. I pull one of my reports and I start preparing it, and I'm like, these all look the same. And I verify with my report the day before, they're the exact same numbers. I'm like, oh, yesterday was a holiday, which normally reporting will update and the system changes will change overnight, but we won't get new reporting because our sister company or our parent company was off the day before. No, now if we do work the day of a holiday, it just doesn't process.
That's really, really stupid.
So the 200 loans that I processed and removed balances for, they just showed that I removed them on Tuesday. And they were, so, like, they were just showing that, like, so basically if I were to remove the balance today until midnight, it's just reflecting the number is a different color on our screen. It's a DOS-based window, so it's like just a different color saying that I removed this balance, that I made these changes. But tomorrow, the screen will update and everything will be reflected properly post my changes. From Monday through Tuesday midnight, it just looked like I made the changes on Tuesday.
And your job is just awful.
I had somebody send me an email because I have a report that gets sent to me because they have to do some work on it before I start it. And they're like, since Black Knight was closed and this, that, and blah, 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 we have no reporting today, so there's nothing for this one. I just responded to them, almost as if maybe we shouldn't have worked yesterday.
Right?
Like, what's the point? What is the point of us being there on Monday? Like, I had such little work yesterday that my boss was like, hey, you have all these compliance things that still need to get done. You should work on them. So I did those. In the last hour of my shift, I read our book. And then today, because we didn't really get a lot of updates because because of the holiday and stuff, I guess, and because I'm caught up on a lot of my work, I read our book for another hour at the end of the shift today.
I mean, hey, at least you used your time wisely.
Right?
Yeah, mostly.
I mean, I worked a normal day on Monday. Like, they did, on Friday, they sent out an email encouraging us to take PTO. Like, it was literally like, hey, normally we don't want you to do last-minute requests. But if you don't want to work on Monday, we'll probably approve it if you send an email in right now.
Mm-hmm.
I already had stuff scheduled, and it wasn't worth rescheduling it just to have a random Monday off, because it would have still counted against like PTO and all, so it's not like I would have just gotten the day off.
Yeah.
But yeah. Days off. Rich, what's on the agenda?
So apparently there's something about Crunchyroll and a free channel. We should have gotten halfway through our book, and I just should have, because one of us may not have. And we're going to talk a little bit of Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War and the Emo Orchestra concert thing.
Yeah, those are things. Yeah, so I happened to see this online, and I thought it was actually kind of funny. So where all of the other platforms they're upping their prices, and also like creating these like sometimes slightly expensive ad tier versions of their stuff's like Hulu, Disney Plus. I think even HBO has like an ad tier now. Mm-hmm. Crunchyroll announced that they actually today launched a free anime channel that you can get on like a bunch of different devices. Like it's on the Rokus, it's on LG TVs. You can download it, and it's got ads, but it's just going to have not current shows, but a bunch of like semi-recent stuff and some slightly older stuff. Like Ranking of Kings was on there, which I think is only like maybe 3 years old. And I'm trying to open the link that I should have had open already. Fairy Tale, which, was on for a decade. To Your Eternity isn't that old. Code Geass, however you pronounce that, is from like the mid-2000s. So it's kind of, they have some stuff from, let's say, the last like 15 years or so available on there. And like, you don't have to pay for any of it. Like, if it's shows you've never seen before, like, as long as you don't mind watching commercials, you can just watch that stuff.
So, like, is it like a TV channel?
So, the way that, like, the wording is, it sounds like it's, like, VOD still. But it's, like, ad-supported. Like, if you had, like, Verizon or Comcast and you did, like, their VOD stuff, where there's just baked in ad breaks, or even like the Hulu ad tier where like the ad breaks are just baked into it.
See, I don't. When it says its own 24-hour anime channel in the U.S., that to me means that if you have LG channels, Roku channels, Vizio Watch Free Plus, this is just it'll have its own programming,
So
and it's not a VOD feature.
It might be. I got home. It took me 2.5 hours almost to get home today, so I did not have a chance to look at this like on the TV like I wanted to. But just the wording of this article makes it sound like it is VOD, and I know like the Roku channel stuff that I've seen at least has all been VOD. It's also affiliated with the Game Show Network.
Yeah, I don't know what that means in this article. Like, what does Game Show Network have to do with it?
Well, they're both owned by Sony, but it's just very funny that it's like it's a free channel in collaboration with the Game Show Network. I'm like, but why does that matter? Why isn't it just a free channel via Crunchyroll who is owned by Sony? Like, why do you have to drop GSN in there to like a group of people who arguably do not care about the Game Show Network?
I don't know. I don't really watch Game Show Network because I don't have cable, but Game Show Network was great, and I love game shows.
I don't think it's the same as it used to be, though. I don't think they play like all the old game shows anymore. I think they play a bunch of new shitty ones because their target demographic that watched the old ones are all dead now.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a different new channel that is basically old Game Show Network.
Oh, really?
It's called Buzzer.
Cobb.
Yes.
There's a channel on Game Show Network I think you'll watch. Or a show on Game Show Network I think you'll watch.
I don't know. I don't really like game shows.
It's called Hey Yahoo, and it's hosted by Tom Cavanaugh.
What is that about?
I'm guessing two teams of 3 players each compete to guess what millions of people are searching for on Yahoo Search.
Well,
at the end of each
I'm going to go ahead
round.
and call bullshit right there because millions of people are not using Yahoo Search.
Team with the most money wins. But I'm just saying, you love Tom Cavanaugh.
I do like Tom Cavanaugh, but I don't like bad game shows.
John Michael Higgins. Oh no, he's not. He looks like someone. He looks like a celebrity.
I was going to say, I have no idea who that is.
He looks like a celebrity though. If you look up John Michael Higgins, you might know he looks like an older celebrity. I don't know his name.
I mean, John Michael Higgins, actor and comedian.
Is that who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, no, he's in all sorts of stuff. He's funny.
Okay, he looks very young. Okay, the image that they're using on Game Show Network, he looks much younger.
Oh, they're probably using one from like when he was young. Yeah, he's 60.
Yeah, he looks much younger in that image.
You know, he is on things as a funny guy. He's
It's
Pitch
that guy.
Perfect. He is
Yeah.
he is the second announcer with Elizabeth Banks in the Pitch Perfect movies.
Yeah. Also, Catch 21, hosted by Alfonso Ribeiro.
Man, does all that guy do now is host? Good for him.
Yeah.
Hey.
Like he's got American Funniest Home Videos. I think he's hosting Dancing with the Stars,
I think so.
or he's on it again, maybe.
So reading the Crunchyroll press release, the last paragraph says the channel is a collaboration between Crunchyroll and Game Show Network. Look for other promotional, genre, and themed programming blocks to be scheduled to give viewers a taste of the varied anime coming out of Japan. So I don't think it's
Okay,
VOD.
so yeah, so it is actually like traditional TV. It's still kind of cool because like the only other access you really have to that stuff would be Adult Swim.
Mhm.
And they really only show the most popular stuff and usually on a huge delay. So at least in this case, like you're seeing stuff that usually isn't getting played there. And if it does well, they'll never put the newest stuff on there because they want your subscriptions.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see them doing like a Game Pass sort of thing and like cycling series, like maybe Fairy Tail airs every day at 4:00 for a few months, and then they cycle in maybe like Dragon Ball Z or something, or Naruto.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It might be time for me to get some sort of Roku TV thing.
Rokus are cheap, and they're good.
They are.
Oh, the only reason I never got any sort of Roku was because I had the Chromecast, and I never really needed it. But right now, it's like, at this point, I need a new TV in general, so get something with Roku TV built in, and
Yeah, I think most of the TCL TVs have Roku's built in, or are they Fire? They might be Amazon Fire built in.
No, they're mostly Roku.
Okay. I was like, I said it, and then I started doubting myself immediately.
The screen I'm looking at right now is a TCL that has the Roku.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like the Roku. Like,
Yeah.
And I have a couple Chromecasts. I never liked them as much because I just don't like having to rely on my cell phone for everything like that. I like that the Roku is like its own interface, its own remote and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
See, I would much rather just control everything with my phone. I just would much rather, if I could sit there and turn my TV on with my phone, great. I don't want to have additional controllers.
I mean, like, for you, that doesn't make sense. Like for Erica and I, like, if we're watching something and we have to Chromecast it, and she's going to keep watching, say, like, the same channel, I have to then, like, when I go to bed, I have to disconnect my phone so that she can then cast her phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not as easy as just like, hey, here's the remote. Good night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and when it comes to, like, Chromecasting and whatnot, it'd be, yeah, if you're going to bed, she's not, it would be more of a pain. But, like, I don't know. If maybe Chromecast should be the service that whatever you're streaming comes off of and everyone's phone connects to it, instead of it being, but then if you had multiple Chromecasts, it would be a little bit more of a pain. But I just would much rather, even with a Roku, if I could control my Roku with my
You can.
phone.
Yeah, you can.
Like, even just browsing through channels and things like that. Like, I don't want to, I don't want more controllers. I don't want more remotes.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
I get
100%
that.
can use your phone though. So,
Mhm.
but,
Yeah, and like in like the case of the Roku, it does everything. So if we exclusively use the Roku, I could just like put our TV remote in like a drawer and forget about it. But we only use the Roku for Crunchyroll and usually Hulu because for whatever reason the built-in version of Hulu on our TV has a weird quality issue where it will for entire shows it will drop quality for like 5 seconds and then pop back into high quality.
weird.
So it'll get very grainy and distorted for like 5 seconds, and then it'll suddenly be HD again, and then a minute later it'll drop back down into the low quality and just keep doing that for just entire shows.
That's weird.
Yeah, and it's very distracting when like you're watching something and like the quality just keeps dipping like noticeably. Like if it was just like a little bit and like maybe an artifact a little bit once in a while, it wouldn't be so bad. But you can't even make out people's faces. It gets so like the quality drops so hard.
Mm-hmm.
But when running it through the Roku, that never happens. So I guess I don't know if like the LG app is just shit for Hulu or something,
It could
which
be.
wouldn't surprise me.
Although, so Cobb, you could just actually use just the LG remote for everything. You don't even need the Roku remote.
The LG remote does not work on our Roku.
You might need to go turn on a setting, but I can control basically everything that's connected to my TV just with the LG remote.
The Roku is the only thing I can't.
Like, I'm pretty sure I can turn my PlayStation on with the LG remote if I really wanted to.
I turned that feature off.
Well, then that's why the Roku's not.
So I turned that off specifically for the PS4 input. It is a setting that when the PlayStation recognizes its input active, it will turn itself on.
Oh, no, well, I mean, I do have that on, but I think there is a separate, like, universal control setting to make it so that the LG remote recognizes the things that are hooked up to it and can control it if it's something that it can control.
Oh, that's possible. So for what it's worth, I actually like the Roku remote.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, like it's small, but like the buttons are nice and clicky, and I like clicky buttons. But yeah, I also don't mind having the remotes. Like I can understand Richie like preferring to just have like a single pane of glass basically to do that stuff with.
Yeah,
but you know, to each their own and all of that fun nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Rich, definitely recommend like get one of those TCLs. They're apparently, and Drew, it sounds like you use one as a monitor.
Yep,
they're like very nice budget TVs. Like you don't have to go spend $2,000 for like the fancy LG, and like you can still get a quality like HD TV.
Yeah,
I think actually with Black Friday coming up, I've seen like the 55 and 60-inch ones go for like under $500.
Oh, for sure.
Like significantly under, not just like $499.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, like $250 sometimes.
Yeah, and it comes with a lot of that stuff built into it, so you don't have to buy a bunch of extra things. And I remember looking at them one time, and they come with a decent amount of HDMI ports compared to some TVs. I think they have 4, which is not always the case. Like, Rich, doesn't yours only have 2?
HDMI ports?
Yeah.
Yeah, it only had 2. But this is an RCA, and this is 10-ish years old.
Because I was going to say, you bought that when you were still at your parents' house, I think, right?
No, that's the one you're talking about is the one upstairs that I got in my parents' house, and that one had like 3 or 4. That one's actually was a really good TV for its time, and even probably up to now. The only reason I don't use it is the stand that it was sitting on. I don't know how, I don't know why, just one day it just broke.
Oh.
And like maybe I was moving it and like the stand snapped underneath it. So like the whole TV still works, but it's been because I've just honestly been too lazy to bring it downstairs or throw it out. It's been sitting up in my room for at least 2 years, not running. Because it's like, all right, I wasn't even really using it before then.
Yeah, I thought that was the one that you had in your living room. Because I remember you had a decent TV. It was just, at this point, it would be more than a decade old.
The one upstairs in my bedroom at this point is, at least, honestly, I'd say at least 20 years, not at least 20 years old. That would mean I would have been 15. At least 15 years old, give or take.
Really? I thought you got it in the 2010s.
Would that? Yeah, that would still be in the 2010s. 15.
No, that would be 13.
15 years ago would still be...
13 years ago would be 2010.
Oh, wait, you were 20... I'm thinking 33. 2023. Yeah, alright, so yeah, 10 years. 10 to 12 years, probably. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, 15 would put it at like 2008. And that just... Well, I realize that's not like that big of a gap. It just feels a little bit older than... I vaguely remember you getting that TV.
It might have been 2008. It was after I graduated high school, for sure. It was a Black Friday deal at Target. I was at least 18 because I was able to get a credit card. That's how I got like $200 off. Was I signed up for but never finished the Target credit card stuff.
Didn't you get it like around the time that the Xbox and PS4 released though?
I have no idea. I don't remember. You remember this more than I do.
Yeah, for some reason I feel like you got it around then, which would have been like 2013, 2014.
Yeah, I don't know.
Get a better memory, man. Jeez.
But also, like, that's the thing, though. 2013, 2014 was when I moved in with my grandfather.
Wow, was it really that long ago?
I was 25 when I moved in with my grandfather.
Wow.
So it was before then. It was before 2013 that I got that TV.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was probably 12 years ago. 10 to 12 years ago.
Damn. Huh. I didn't realize you'd been in that house for that long at this point, too.
I think I was 25. I think so. Yeah, I was about 25.
Man, time sure flows, doesn't it?
Yeah, I definitely was 25 because my 25th birthday was when we went go-karting. And then I went to AC, and then the next day they moved me into this house because my uncle forgot that my birthday was the day before, and he was the one who decided what day to move me into this house. I literally moved in the day after I turned 25.
Hey, man, at least you were able to rent a car if you needed to.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. And then he gave me shit. Here's the most ridiculous thing. Because my birthday was the day before, like, I didn't pack up my clothes or anything because I was still wearing my clothes up until I moved. And I was just moving from my parents' house to my grandparents' house, which wasn't far. So, like, I loaded up all of my manga, all of my figures, all of my, like, games and things like that. And just a bunch of boxes to move over here so that then I could set up my bedroom. And I move over, I bring all that stuff, and we start to unload it out of my car, and my uncle's like, what's all this? I'm like, oh, this is all my stuff. He's like, where's your clothes? Where's your dress? I'm like, I'm not using a dresser, because he has 2 dressers in that room, and he's like, oh, you go for moving, and we're moving all your toys and stuff? I'm like, my birthday was yesterday, and I needed my clothes. I can just bring clothes in trash bags for the next day. It doesn't matter. Why are you giving me shit for you planning to move me because it's inconvenient for you to move me any other day, the day after my birthday? It's like, oh, it was your birthday yesterday. Yeah, my family's great.
I was going to say, every time you talk about your uncle, he sounds like a real asshole.
Oh, he's such a cheap asshole that only cares about himself. He tries to make it seem like he cares about everyone else, but he really only cares about himself.
Yeah, sounds like a jerk.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys want to talk a little bit about this book?
Sure.
Drew, what's this book about?
I mean, it's about Ray Didinger's life in Philadelphia and in sports and everything else, honestly.
And what's it called?
Finished Business. It is called Finished Business.
You should explain to the listener who Ray Didinger is, if we haven't already.
So, Ray Didinger is probably, like, he's definitely currently the longest running Philadelphia sports journalist, although he's pretty well retired from everything. He retired from WIP like a year ago, but still shows up almost every other week, it seems. He can't actually stay retired. But yeah, he covered the Eagles for like 50 years before he retired, and has covered all sorts of other sports as he goes through in these first 9 chapters.
Yeah, he was in print media from 1960?
69 was his first job.
Yeah, 1969 up until about 2009, 2015, somewhere around there. Can't 100% remember. And then moved over to like TV and radio, if I remember correctly, what it said in the book.
Yeah, it looks like in the mid 2000s he started working with NFL Films more than writing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw on I went through the pictures that are in the middle part of the book after chapter 9, and there's a picture of him with whoever he hosted the WIP show with, and it says that they did that show for almost 20 years. So I'm assuming he started doing radio in either the late 90s or early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, damn, that's a hell of a career.
Yeah.
And like, I had no idea who this guy was. Like, I have never heard that name before in my life. But I never read like the sports page. I never really read the newspaper, let alone the sports page, and I never listened to WIP.
Mm-hmm.
So like, the names that I would have recognized would have been like the people like actually on like Fox Sports during like the halftime on the Eagles games and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, basically all the ex-football players that talked about the games on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this guy, no fucking clue who he was. But what a fucking like career.
Yeah.
Like getting the Eagles beat. I mean, and to be fair, like from what this book goes into describing, covering the Eagles in 1970 wasn't very glamorous because they sucked and apparently were, a lot of assholes.
Yeah, they were.
So,
well, it seemed like the Eagles weren't that bad.
Oh no, it was the Phillies that were the
Phillies
assholes.
were assholes.
But still, like being the kid that gets stuck covering the losing team.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time, like Philly's a huge football town and always has been.
Mm-hmm.
So, still getting that job as a fan, basically a year after you graduated college or 2 years after you graduated college, that's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. And being like 20 years younger than everyone else that's covering them at that point or whatever it was he said.
Yeah, like that's like fucking good for him. And like he held it at that one newspaper, I think, for more than a decade, if I remember like the timeline right.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Because he went from the Bulletin to like the Daily News or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's impressive. Rich, what did you think since you weren't the other day you had mentioned that, or last week I think it was, that like reading like a nonfiction like this was a little bit of a struggle for you.
I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't gotten through the first 9 chapters. I'm just got to chapter 7 today.
What a slacker!
I am incredibly bored, and it has taken me about 6.5 to 7 hours to get to chapter 7. This is the most boring thing I've ever had to do besides school.
Really?
Yeah, I don't care. Here's the thing about this. This is a memoir. This isn't a book. This isn't a story. This is a memoir. It's so most of the book is him talking about what is the equivalent of hearing somebody talk about their friends and having zero reference to their friends and having zero reference to this person. And that's where it is with me. It's like he's saying all of these names. Every chapter has, if we're putting it in book standards and story standards, every chapter has 10 new characters, but none of the characters really actually matter. And he'll list off a list of sports guys that have these stats. And like I'm happy for him that he is so happy about this stuff, but I don't care.
See, that's funny. Like I don't know who any of these people are or care either, but like I find it fascinating.
I honestly, if this were a docuseries, if this were a podcast, maybe I'd be a little bit more interested in paying attention to it. But because I'm reading it and I have to actively read it and I can't be doing something else with it on in the background, I am bored reading this. This is not entertainment to me. And so it's not interesting to me and it's not entertainment. Because also, up until chapter 7, it has all taken place before I was even born. So it's like this isn't even stuff I've experienced, with the exception of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, which he touched on at the very beginning of the book, before even chapter 1, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with the exception of that, like, I've not experienced any of this. So again, like, it's something I don't really have a frame of reference for, and because I don't care about who he is, because I never read any of his columns, I've never listened to anything, none of this matters to me. All of these names, like, it wasn't until he was talking about the Eagles, and what's his name? Vince Papale, that I was like, oh, a name I know. And then he mentioned, like, Bernie Perrant. I'm like, oh, a name I know. And that's about it. Like, I just got through the chapter where he's talking about the Olympics. And I was just like, I don't care. Who cares about the Olympics? Like,
a lot of people do.
Maybe back in 1980 and 1984. And look, I actually enjoy watching the Olympics today. Like, if it were to happen, we're supposed to get Olympics next year.
Mm-hmm.
If it were to happen next year, God forbid COVID doesn't go on a rise again, and we don't have, and there's not another break in the Olympics. If the Olympics were to happen next year, I'd be interested in watching some of it, or at least keeping up with the scores and things like that. But I don't know who any of these people are, and I'm not going to follow up on who any of these people are. I like watching the sport, but I don't like hearing about the sport.
See, it's funny. I am the absolute opposite. I don't want to watch a football game. I think football is just abysmally fucking boring. But I find like stuff like this like fascinating. The same way like I forget the name of it. That F1 series we watched, Drew.
Drive to Survive.
Yeah, the same way like I tried watching the F1 race after that because I'm like, oh, this stuff's all very interesting, and like the race was just fucking exhaustingly boring.
Mm-hmm. This
but,
season has been particularly bad for F1. It's just been Max Verstappen winning everything and almost nothing happening.
Yeah, but like when you get into like the history and all that stuff, like I think that stuff's all just fascinating. And like I'm in the same boat as you, Rich. This stuff was all before I was born, and I don't really have much reference for it. I recognize, I think, more names than it sounds like you may have. Like a lot of like the Philly stuff they were mentioning. Like I recognize, like I know who Pete Rose was. I know who Dick Vermeil was. Like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did not know Papel, however you say his name.
Papale.
Yeah.
You don't remember the
Like,
Mark Wahlberg movie?
Never saw it. Same thing. I never saw Miracle either. So it wasn't until as he was explaining that, I'm like, oh, I wonder if the movie Invincible was based on this. I'm like, I don't know if that was based in Philadelphia though, so I'm not really sure if like it's just like one of those underdog like started a football career later in life, like the Tony Danza movie, the garbage picking, field goal kicking Philadelphia phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I don't know, for whatever reason, like all the history stuff and him being like, yeah, like I met like such and such and he was a real piece of shit. Like I think it's fascinating.
Yeah. And I mean, Richie, in fairness, how you feel about reading this nonfiction is how I felt reading fucking Jurassic Park. I got so fucking bored with that book. I'm like, yeah, it's like the opposite. It's like all this shit is fake, so I don't care. Whereas for me, this book is all the shit was real, so it's interesting.
But yeah, I don't get the fact that this, like, it's not that this is real that I'm just uninterested in the subject matter. I am just completely disinterested in the subject matter of sports history. I've never cared about sports statistics. This is one of the reasons why I'm pretty bad at fantasy football, even though I won once and usually am pretty good at it. I don't care about this stuff.
You just contradict yourself very heavily. You're like, one of the reasons I'm not very good at fantasy football, but I won once and I'm usually pretty good at it.
I've never been at the bottom. I've never been in the toilet bowl. I've always been mid to high grade. I've been in the playoffs multiple times. But I don't care about the stats. I don't pay attention to stats. I just pay attention to the prediction numbers, and I'll read up a little bit about each player that may be questionable and whatnot. That's all. Like, I'm not, I don't even, it's like the same with tech. I can't read about tech and understand tech and what it is. I don't care about that stuff. I want a story. And that's what like kind of blows my mind about between this and Jurassic Park is like, that's a story. Like they're telling you a story. They're giving you like it's fake. Yes, it's fiction. It's fake. It's a story. It's entertainment purposes is what it is. Like when you give me something like this is a history book. I don't care about history.
I feel, but I mean, yes, it's about historical things that happened, but it's not like it's not literally just listing facts. It's not a history textbook. It's his stories about the people he met and the people that
it's
got him to where he is.
You're right. It's his stories. It's his experiences with these people. But, and I say this in no negative tone, who the fuck is he? Like, to me, he's nobody. And to me, all of these people he's talking about are nobody. If you were to have me read a memoir from a comedian that I'd say, like, I had made the suggestion of Sonam Movsesian's book, The World's Worst Assistant.
Who
she's the assistant.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is.
She's the assistant to Conan O'Brien, and she's on his podcast, and she's been on his show a bunch of times. She's been working with him for pretty much forever. Like, she wrote a book about being his assistant. Like, that's like a memoir of her being his assistant and all the stories, but like between him and her, and meeting the celebrities and all their interactions. I'm like, I love Conan. I like her. I like comedians. Like, this'll be something that I'm probably more interested in. I've read a fucking poetry book from Bo Burnham, wrote a poetry book, and I bought it and read it. I read every fucking poem in that thing. That thing was great. But you give me a book about someone I don't care about a subject that I don't care to learn the history of, and I sit here and I'm just like, this is not entertainment to me.
It's almost like people have different tastes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's almost like all art is subjective.
You know what though, Rich? And like, this is my opinion. So like, do not take offense to it. Based on things that you've said in the past, I don't think you'd actually even enjoy like a memoir from somebody that like, like a comedian. I don't think I just think that sort of medium is just not a thing that's going to get you. I think you might find it easier to read and connect with than something like this where you are completely disconnected from it. Like, you don't even have a reference point to kind of like lock onto. Like, Drew, you probably recognize 90% of the names this guy is mentioning.
Oh, and I mean, I listen to his show with Glenn Macnow almost every week. Like, I am reading this book in his voice.
Right. So, like, for you, like, it's totally different. Like you have a connection to all of this. Like, you know the player he's talking about. You know him. Like,
yeah,
there's a thing there. But, Rich, I just think because of things that you said about other sort of, like, non-fiction-y stuff in the past, I feel like even something from like a person you're a fan of just might not click with you. Like, I think you still might like come away from it as like just not being for you.
That's probably 100% true. It's probably true. I won't. You never know until you try. And it's when it comes to trying to read this book, it was hard for me to start. When I started, like, I can get into a rhythm, but it still takes an hour per chapter, and they're not long chapters. It still takes about an hour per chapter to read this book because I am disinterested. And, like, I'll get through a page or two and three, and then I'll be checking the page number because I'm just bored. And I'm like, how much longer? How much longer? How much longer? Like, sometimes there are a few there's like one or two chapters that have the breaks in between the chapters. I'm like, all right, I'm done for 10 minutes. Like, I need that break because I'm bored.
Yeah.
I am.
You guys are very opposite. With that, like, like you're literally the polar opposites here. Of Rich, you want not always a fictional story, but like you want fiction. You want something with a climax and like rising action and like all the telltale bits of a proper like story structure, like beginning, middle, end. You want characters to follow. You want something to connect with. And Drew wants something that is real. And preferably that you have like an interest in, but like you want something real that you can associate with the things that you enjoy, like on a daily, like sports.
Yeah. I mean, like, to me, the feeling of real, like, there needs to be a feeling of there being real stakes involved, and like fiction, basically, there is nothing real on the line.
I disagree. Fiction, there are stakes involved. For that character, there are stakes involved.
but they're not real, is what he's saying. It's not that they don't exist. It's just he's looking for things that had a real world impact, even if it's not like an earth shattering like dinosaurs were recreated impact. Like all the stuff in this book, like the chapter about the Eagles getting to the Super Bowl. In the was that the late 70s or early 80s?
It was 1980. So that chapter is like the late 70s leading up to 1980 season.
Yeah, so like that whole instance there had a real world impact. Like Dick Vermeil left after like 2 seasons later or something like that. Like that impacted that team in a huge way for over a decade afterwards. Like the team fell apart, and like that really happened in real life.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I don't understand. Like you sit here and you look at any sort of fictional material and you say this doesn't have real world implications. Sure, but whatever happens has real world implications for the story, for that world. It might not be our world, but it's their world that these have implications, and you can't enjoy the fact that their world may change, even though our world has no effect on it. Like, that's what I don't get.
The problem is most times I've seen the stories told in most fiction are essentially the same over and over and over again. And like, yes, obviously there are real stakes for the characters involved, but most fiction, to me, does a real shit job about making it fucking matter. Like I mean, let's take Jurassic Park and the first Last of Us game. Like Jurassic Park, almost nothing really feels like it matters to those characters. The Last of Us, boom, immediately you feel for Joel. Like they make you feel for that character and understand why he is the way he is. Jurassic Park, kind of like it's just like, character, thing happened to him, whatever.
But are you talking Jurassic Park the movie or Jurassic Park the book?
Both.
Because
both.
I disagree with the book. You understood more about the character because you got more in the character's head.
Somewhat, but like some of them yes, others no, and it's like, okay, great, whoop-de-doo. Malcolm died. Like, Malcolm dies off screen. Like, good job. Way to make that character important.
He doesn't. The Lost World says he's back alive.
Yeah, but that's not in that book. Like,
I know.
that wasn't supposed to happen.
even if that's the case, that makes the first book suck more. It's like, okay, you now even took anything away from that character development in the first place, and it's like, oh, well, it didn't fucking matter, apparently, then.
Yeah, and Rich, I do understand, like, your mentality for it, because, like, I like fiction. Like, I prefer fiction over nonfiction 100%. Like, I like getting invested in something that isn't real, that, like, doesn't have real-world stakes, because when something does go wrong, like, nothing really went wrong, if that makes sense. Like, if I'm reading a book and, like the main character's best friend dies, like, yes, that'll be sad. If that character's been around for like the entire book or multiple books, like it might hit harder than not. Mm-hmm. But like at the end of the day, the book's going to end and like nobody really died. And like I could start the book over and that character's alive again. Whereas like in nonfiction, you run into like in chapter 9, they're talking about that former Eagles owner,
Leonard
that
Coates.
Basically that like seemed like, you know, was not a terrible person the way like some of these rich guys could be. Like he's the reason the Ronald McDonald House exists.
Yeah. But also like, gambled away all his fucking millions of dollars and wound up a broke, destitute man being supported by Dick Vermeil.
Exactly. So like he had that happen, and then like basically like he died in hospice care in like his early 80s. Mm-hmm. And like spent the last few years of his life basically trying to connect with people that wouldn't even return his calls other than Didinger. Mm-hmm. And it's like, see, that's like real world sad, and like that makes you feel, but like when you finish that chapter and it moves on to something else, it's like that still really happened. Like you can go back to the beginning of the chapter, but like that guy is still really dead in the real world, and like that is not always the sensation you want. Sometimes you just want to know that, like, you know, John Hammond dies at Jurassic Park spoilers. Like, John Hammond dies at the end of Jurassic Park, and he kind of fucking deserves it. Like, John Hammond in the book is a real piece of shit.
Yeah. But to counter that, you're like, yeah, no one actually died, but you can read the book and everyone's back alive when you start reading it. But people in the book, in that world, these people actually died.
But that world doesn't exist. It's not real.
But it's in your head. It does exist.
You're
reading it, it exists. The world exists in the book.
That is not how I imbibe fiction.
Same.
The world exists in the book. So whatever happens in the book happens in that world. That it doesn't really happen in real life, but that's fiction. That's what it is. It's not real life. It's made up. It's a story.
Look, I do not fault you for that, because I've heard other people say that. Like, that is a very that is a legit way to feel about stuff. That's just not how I personally think about stories.
Yeah,
but then
same.
to counter with reading a memoir, it's something that actually happened. You're right. It's real world sad. It's sad that this guy died alone in hospice care with no money because he fucked up his life. But do I really want to read about how a dude fucked up his life in real life? No, that's fucking sad and terrible, and I hate it. I don't want to read about that. This world is already shitty enough as it is.
I mean, I guess I don't understand why it's different than a made-up character that was a shitty gambling asshole and died alone.
Because I'm not in this world.
Yeah.
I'm not reminded how bad this world is by reading a book about a different fictional world.
Well, actually, here, that's what I'll say. I find
this is a level of escape, is what it is. Escapism.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, that's literally what I was about to say. My brain does not understand escapism. I never ever am in a piece of involved in any piece of fiction and can be brains off of the real world things. This is the thing I'm intaking is the only...
You don't lose yourself in things.
Yeah, no. I can't be oh, that's the world. That is the only world that there is. That does not make sense to my brain.
But that's not how it is. That's not escapism to me. To me, it's I know my world exists and I know my world sucks. I'm going to dive into this one. I'm going to read about this one. I'm going to learn about this one, and I'm going to get the stories from this one. I know everything sucks, and I don't want to be reminded that everything sucks by reading a book where it's told to you that everything sucks. I want to read a different book about a different world where yes,
everything
things
sucks.
still suck, but it doesn't suck because of real-world implications. It sucks because of space Nazis instead of real-life Nazis.
Especially because you just brought up historical stuff. I think with nonfiction in particular, there is sort of a line in there where, depending on how shitty something is, it gives you that perspective of this is really shitty, but we've improved. Things are still shitty, but they're not as shitty.
Right.
So I just read this book. It was what was it called? The Woman They Could Not Silence, and it's about a woman named Elizabeth from the 1860s.
Okay.
That her husband was a pastor or something like that. He church sermon sort of stuff.
Right.
And his church was doing some stuff that the wife didn't agree with. Mm-hmm. So she split from her husband's church and went to a different one.
Huh.
And her husband, being the pastor and also being just a real piece of shit, had her committed to an insane asylum.
That checks out for the 1800s.
Exactly. And the book goes on to and the book is both research, but also these people left behind journals and stuff like that, so they have actual record of what went on. Back then, literally a husband could just commit their wife for no reason. They can just take her to a hospital and be I think she's crazy.
Yep.
And they will commit her for as long as they see fit. And in this case, all he had to do was have two people sign a piece of paper that also said she was crazy, and he just had two people from his church sign it.
Yep.
And she spent 3 years in the asylum, being mistreated, but literally never losing her drive to get out of there and get back to her family. Like her children, not her husband. He was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And like, unfortunately, because of that time period, like she was making a lot of assumptions on things, like that the doctor actually wanted to help her. The doctor was a piece of shit too. And like, it got to the point where like when she did get out, like 3 or 4 years later, she had to basically take her husband to court and get put on trial to prove that she was not insane.
Mm-hmm.
And like, they had like a long drawn out trial where eventually it was found that she was not insane and could not be recommitted. Because that's what the husband wanted to do. Like, the husband just wanted, he basically let her come home so that, and gave her like a strict, like, here's the only things you can do. You can't do any of the things you want to do, and you have to stay in this room all the time. Assuming that like she would then like talk back or leave the room or do something that he could then be like, see, she's still unstable.
Right.
Like she has to go back into the asylum. Like she's still crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, it was, the whole book was that. And it most of the book runs over like a decade or so. But like she spent most of her life actually like, and she was in her 40s when this initially happened.
Oh, wow.
She spent the remainder of her life both like raising her children that like weren't already grown basically.
Mm-hmm.
And advocating for mental health rights in asylums.
Okay.
Because of how people could just be committed with no like trial or proof or anything like that.
Right.
And you see stuff like that, and then you jump ahead to today, and like, yes, today still sucks. There is still so much bullshit in the world, but at least we're better than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like, so like a very long-winded explanation, like I look at stuff like that as, yeah, that's still real world, and like that sucks, but at least you're able to appreciate like our today better.
Mm-hmm.
But I do get, Rich, like you're thinking of, if you're reading something that's more modern day and it's just all negative all the time, you're not getting away from the negative of our world. You're just kind of having it dumped more and more on top of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that can be a bummer. But if you're reading like a book where there's just a lot of bad shit happening, but at the end of the day, like the heroes like survive and come out on top, like even if it's a real world aesthetic, like it impacts you differently because you get that the hero wins at the end feeling.
Yeah.
Like,
and like to go back to our book, like this whole book isn't about like bad shit. This whole book isn't about like a downer or anything like that. Like it's specifically, I guess, that one chapter that I haven't gotten to yet. I might be the chapter I'm on. I'm on chapter 7.
That was chapter 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even honestly, that chapter, for the most part, is not like a downer. Like, it's, I mean, he has kind of a little bit of a chaotic relationship with the Eagles owner, but he also, like Cobb said, this dude started the Ronald McDonald House. He gave a lot of his money to charity as well, but he was eccentric rich guy.
Yeah, there was something he said that Didinger said in the book where, because like he basically goes on like he wrote some pretty scathing articles shortly before the guy lost the ownership of the Eagles because he was trying to sell it, and the sale would have actually moved them out of Philadelphia.
Yeah. Could you imagine like the Eagles not existing? Like,
or at least not existing as a Philadelphia team.
Yeah.
But after he kind of goes through all that, he's like, but like he wasn't a bad person. Like he donated a lot of money to CHOP so that they opened like a new wing for like childhood cancer research. He opened the first Ronald McDonald House, and he funded one of the Philadelphia area schools sports program.
Mm-hmm.
When he just happened to hear that like they had to drop their sports program because they didn't have funding, so he just paid for it himself.
Yeah.
I think there was also something where one of the other things they said was he saw like a story about like a little girl who couldn't get to piano practice because like a SEPTA strike or something like that. So he literally just bought her a piano so she could practice at home.
Yeah.
Like just a total stranger, but like a little girl that was apparently very talented at piano. He's like, pianos aren't that expensive. Here's a piano.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so like it does at least balance like the good with the bad. I think in that chapter in particular, the bad stands out though because you see like kind of what his life ended up after being like, he had a football team go to the Super Bowl. They might have lost, but like they got there.
Mm-hmm.
And like not every football team gets to the Super Bowl ever, let alone more than once like the Eagles have.
Right.
I think really the only other negative chapter I think would be the NCAA championship one.
Yeah.
Which might be the one before that.
I think so.
So, Rich, that's probably one other one you just haven't gotten to yet, where it's not even negative. It's just it's also maybe the shortest chapter because chapter 8's only 3 pages.
Yeah, something like that.
The NCAA championship game one year was supposed to be held in Philadelphia. It was held in Philadelphia, and it was the year that Reagan was shot, and the NCAA refused to cancel or postpone the game. They still had the game go on while the president was basically on the brink of maybe living, maybe dying. Yeah. And Didinger was the story was basically that Didinger wasn't okay with it and he left. He was really excited to cover that game and then just it didn't sit well with him, so he left. He got permission to go back and write an article on why he left instead of write an article on the game itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And while it's a downer, it's powerful because that's a thing that really happened. And you have this guy who stood up for what he thought was right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I don't know. I actually like the book a lot. I didn't think I was going to just because the sports angle, it was one of those I don't know if I'm going to care about a dude just talking about writing about sports, but it turned out there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
A surprising amount.
It's less about writing about sports versus being about the people he wrote about in sports or the things the events that happened around him writing things about sports.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it because I know I was even just surprised by how much kind of not Eagles, I guess you could say, is in there. Having entire chapter devoted to the Broad Street Bullies and chapters about the Phillies and I get it they had very prominent runs in that era, so it makes sense that working for major newspapers he was also covering and involved in that stuff because he was also a fan of it.
Yeah.
But getting that history of the Broad Street Bullies and I didn't realize kind of how early Bernie had to retire from getting hit in the eye. For some reason in my head, I always thought that was later in his career, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was only 2 years after the Stanley Cup win.
Yeah, or was it the year after?
Or maybe it was the year after, but not long after winning the Stanley Cups.
Yeah,
sure.
I think it was the year after.
Yeah, stuff like that, or even the Philly stuff, I knew about the Rose stuff for the most part. I actually didn't realize that they had vetted him, but then said that they weren't anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that they signed him. I knew that he was a big part of how the Phillies won the World Series in '80 and all that. And I knew about his gambling issues and the fact that he was banned from the Hall of Fame and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But so it was interesting to kind of have that dissected a little bit more and hear stuff that I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that team was essentially all assholes to the media, except for Pete Rose. It was oh, no, we don't like talking to you. And then Pete Rose gets there. He's come on, I'll talk to you. What do we do? I'm not doing anything. Let's talk right now. Let's go.
Yeah, because that is basically what happened, right? He walked up to him to introduce himself and be like, hey, I have to do an interview with you at some point. And he's just cool, sit down, grab some breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Let's chat.
Yeah.
Which, that's kind of cool. I also didn't know the Eagles had a player that was literally just a crazy man.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't know really about that dude until having read this book. I forget that guy's name, but the dude from Southern, I think he went to USC and just did all ridiculous shit.
Yeah, used to go to parties and set himself on fire at the door.
The guy who set his shirt on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ate glass,
We had people who did that when I worked at McDonald's.
Ate glass or set themselves on fire?
Set themselves on fire.
Sounds about right.
Rob Vogel.
No, I didn't work with him at McDonald's. They would get hand sanitizer, put it on their apron, and then take a lighter and light that and walk around with their.
Oh, that's
apron.
Child's play.
Yeah, I know. It's not like making napalm.
It's not. It's nothing like that. Or dousing somebody in 151, lighting it, and then them diving into a pool off of a 2-story deck.
But yeah, I hope to maybe find some joy in reading some chapters in this book, I'm gonna do my damnedest to finish it. Even if I have to do a chapter a day from here till the end of the month, I'm gonna try to finish it.
That is basically what I did. I did like a chapter a day for like I got chapter 9 done yesterday, so like I basically counted it. I'm like 9 days prior, I will do a chapter a day. This way, I don't get burned out on it or anything.
Mm-hmm. And like maybe if he talks about the '08 Phillies, I'll be a little bit more interested in that chapter. Maybe if he spends another chapter, because I think he has a chapter called the Philly Special, which I'm assuming is more about the Eagles win. Maybe I'll be more interested in that chapter. But like, I'm gonna try to finish it. But I'm gonna be honest. I can't make any promises. You've
got 14 days, so if you just read like a little more than half a chapter a day for the next 14 days, you've got it.
I mean, I'm gonna finish a chapter each day.
Well, then in that case, you can do like every other day, except for like 2. You just have to read 2 days in a row.
Like, I literally have 13 chapters left. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I have 13 chapters. More than half the book left. I'm gonna try to finish it, but I'm just like,
you can do it. It'll be fine.
It's a struggle. It brings me back to like pseudo forced reading, especially like history reading in school.
Well, at least one of us now knows how Drew feels with us making him watch dozens of movies he fucking hated.
but the thing is, I don't understand that, because those movies were only capped at 3 hours.
No. I like not.
Cool.
I've
read the first
one
9
single
chapters
movie
in 2 hours, so like, you know, I'll probably read.
It took me much longer than that.
I'll probably read the last 4 or the last 9 in 2.5 hours or so.
But yeah, Rich, I didn't. Just to be clear, I did not mean that like time limit wise. I meant like quantity wise, like dozens of movies he put up with.
Literally, almost was like, I'm fucking done ever watching the movie again at one point. I literally said it to. Did I say?
We had
a
stretch where they were. You did, and it was a while ago. It was after that stretch where we.
It was after fucking the stupid Daniel Radcliffe dead movie that I can't remember.
Yeah, like
what it's called.
Richie and I, like, we definitely had for a little while there gone back and forth with, like, we weren't intentionally picking bad movies, but, like, we were picking movies that weren't exactly, like, the cream of the crop. They were, like, usually ones that, like, just had, like, they sounded like they could have been interesting. And, you know, I'd say maybe, like, 50-50 they were. at least for him and I, who, like, enjoy, like, fiction. For you, it was all just fucking torture.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I don't know why we did that, because like we were hurting ourselves too in some cases.
Yeah, those movies were fucking bad.
No, we didn't know they were bad going into it.
Oh, you all fucking knew Silent Hill was bad. Fuck off.
Yeah, no, that. Yeah, Rich, to be fair, like I picked Silent Hill and I knew it wasn't a good movie, but it was one of those like, it's not as bad as I remember it. Like, it'll probably be fine.
No.
I mean, it wasn't. Look, it was fine.
No.
It wasn't shit. It wasn't hot garbage. It's not as bad as you're making it out to be, Drew.
That's fucking awful.
Yeah, I did not enjoy fucking Silent Hill, but
it wasn't the worst movie we watched. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I'm real quick looking at like just some of the stuff. Like Rich, I think you liked that Swiss Army Man movie, right?
I didn't hate it. It made me uncomfortable in scenes, and I was the one who chose that because I was very interested in it originally. And like I didn't hate it, but I also understand not liking it because there were some very uncomfortable scenes in that movie and not good scenes. I get it.
Right.
I do think that was the movie out of everything we watched was like one of the ones you've liked the least.
At least of the stuff that he picked himself, because I know there were a few things that I picked that neither of you guys really liked, but Rich, you were just a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Like generous about them.
Do we have a list of all the book club stuff?
So I'm looking at it now. Like I have to update it because I haven't updated it since Renfield, which was back over the summer.
I think it was Renfield and then Boss Level, and then we stopped.
Yeah,
you might be right. So I might just be like one off of like movies that we watched, and then the books.
Did you share the list with us?
Yeah,
it's on that spreadsheet where we used to add everything. So like, why is the top of this? Oh, for some reason it's like oddly like skewed down. Hang on a second. I'm fixing it real quick now. But yeah, like I feel like the first like dozen things were actually not bad because we were kind of like we were picking weird stuff. But even like I hated Top Gear, but like it had its moments.
Mm-hmm.
And like Rich, you fucking despised Mario Party.
I hate those guys. Is what it is.
Yeah.
I hate those guys.
Whereas like Gamera, like that may have been the thing I liked the least that we've watched.
Wow, really?
I think I may have liked Swiss Army Man a little bit more. But like I've also just come to the like exception. I don't like kaiju stuff at all. I just don't.
I mean, like I didn't think Gamera was particularly good, but it was inoffensive and at times silly. Whereas like I thought Swiss Army Man was never funny and never interesting and sometimes outright offensive.
You know what? Like you're right, but I feel like I was just a little bit more like something good has to happen in this movie. Whereas like with Gamera, I was just very much, yeah, no, this is all sorts of bad.
Yeah, no, fair.
Honestly, the more I think about it, I think, and not just Gamera, I think that's part of why like I think Attack on Titan is garbage too. Like I don't like the whole giant monster thing. It's just not fun.
Yeah.
Or entertaining for me, I should say, because I hated the Pacific Rim movie also, and I believe Rich, you're a fan of that one, I think, right?
I like Pacific Rim. The first one was really good. Like,
I thought so, but I could not remember 100%.
Yeah. The first one was really good. The second one was fine.
But like,
it took me forever to actually watch that.
But like, we watched some solid stuff. We watched the 2015 Fantastic Four.
Well, see, that's what happened, and I don't know why we went back to back to back like that, but we went Gamera, Silent Hill, Fantastic Four.
That was a bad fucking stretch.
Sure fucking was.
I chose Fantastic Four just because I had never seen it, and I didn't think I think it was the same reason as to why you chose Silent Hill. Like I was like, there's no way it was that bad. Let's watch it. I'd never seen it before. Let's watch it.
Silent Hill may have just been like I had a list of video game movies that I was picking from occasionally. It's the same way that like I ended up with Uncharted.
Yeah.
But honestly,
I was just always picking movies that I always wanted to watch but never did.
Right. And like sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Like I think like Ip Man, Drew, did you like Ip Man?
It was all right. I didn't hate it.
Yeah, like I was in a similar boat. Like it wasn't as like predictable as I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a movie that like I necessarily want to watch again or like watch the sequels to for like just to see them.
Right.
But like I found it entertaining. Like it was a well done movie, like for what it was.
Yeah.
And then like we watched the Paddington movies, the pinnacle of cinema.
I mean, I don't know that I'll go that far, but those were very good.
I mean,
they're incredibly well done kids movies.
Yeah, they really are. But yeah, like
I don't remember having to watch the Chris Benoit thing.
We didn't.
Is that on here still?
Here?
Oh no, that was
supposed
at one
to
point.
Be,
yeah, I
watched wrestling AEW.
Yeah, so at one point I was going in and we were throwing out ideas, and I was just listing all the ideas, and then I was dating them
right
at like when we watched them. And we ended up doing most of them, but we skipped the Dark Side of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think Drew picked the AEW All Out instead, and then we just never went back to that Dark Side of the Ring. Yeah, generally, if you look at the last column, it's got the date that the episode was from, except for those last three that I didn't do, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's nothing there. I just put our names there, so I knew the rotation. But, yeah, like, I think for the most part, like, we definitely have not picked all good things, but I think, like, there's been enough, like, decent things kind of throughout it.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I went through and rated every movie we watched, you know, the majority of them, like, I didn't hate. But the ones I hated, holy fucking shit did I hate.
They almost ruined wanting to ever watch a movie.
Seriously did. Like, well, yeah.
But like there was stuff that like while I know Rich, you go back and listen to them regularly, like I would never listen to those two podcasts again, but they were actually very well done. Like I thought I did enjoy both of those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not like I'm not a redo stuff like that.
It's been a while since I listened to those, so I might have to listen to.
And like I said it before, but like that the Drive to Survive, that was fascinating. Like I thought that was actually really interesting.
Yeah,
it does not translate to liking F1. I figured out.
Yeah,
but like that's actually a series that like I've thought about going and watching more of, just because it was so well done and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like the concept behind F1 is interesting, just not the races themselves.
Right. Again, you're more interested in the people, not the sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Which kind of goes to the book of like, the sports don't super care, but hearing about all these people and what happened to them, kind of interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And whereas
I liken reading this book to when we watched the 2001 lacrosse championship. I was bored watching the lacrosse championship because I knew nothing of the history of the team that year. I didn't know that the team was an underdog. I didn't know, or if the team was an underdog. I think they were. I can't remember. Like, I watched that, and I was kind of watching it begrudgingly because I had zero interest in watching that.
Let me tell you about watching basically the last 15 movies we watched. So pretty much begrudgingly.
Face Off, top tier cinema.
Oh, listen, I'm not going to say that I didn't wind up liking some of the things we watched, but boy, was I fucking watching them begrudgingly.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, that. There were plenty of things. There were even some things that I picked that I'm like, man, I don't really want to watch this, but I guess we're going to watch this. Like, I like the Mission Impossible movies. I didn't really want to watch Mission Impossible, but, like, we had the theme going, so I was going to stick with the theme.
And to be honest, the last 15 movies were all solid movies. Batman Returns until Renfield.
Yeah, you know what? Like, other than, I did not like that Interstellar thing at all. Like, I fucking hated that.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I also kind of just don't even count it as a movie. Like, it's not. It's a music video that was 2 hours long or whatever, an hour and a half long, whatever it was.
But like, I ended up really liking La La. Really liking is probably pushing a little far. I liked La La Land more than I thought I would. Like, going into that, I'm just like, this is probably just going to be like fine. But like, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, pretty much everything after Swiss Army Man, with the exception of Birdies, like.
Which I also agree was not good, and I'm the one who chose it, so.
Yeah, but you know what? See, I remember you sending us the trailer for that, and I understand why you thought it could have been funny. Like, between, like, you knew, like a couple of the people from, like, one of, like, your YouTube channels that you follow.
Yeah.
And, like, it had that trailer where it's like, this looks like a late 90s, early 2000s comedy. And, like, if they do it right, it could have actually been pretty funny.
I forget who, I was talking to someone about it the other day, but the trailer gave it the, like, Super Troopers kind of vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, with none of the talent. It turned out.
Yeah, that's actually probably a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, you guys are right. Like probably, like, since Swiss Army Man, like, I think that was around the point where, I don't know about you, Rich, but I know for me it was more of a, I don't want to watch bad stuff anymore. I want to watch at least things that I think are going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I was still just picking movies that I wanted to watch. It was never about good or, like, I think when I picked Fantastic Four, if anything, was a pick of, let's watch another bad movie, or like, let's just see another bad movie, or something like that.
Yeah, and I guess
for the most part, anytime I never was like, let's watch something good, it was just always, this interests me, let's watch it. This is a movie, like Super 8, you guys didn't like, I thought was good. It was a movie that had been on my watch list for years, it was on my DVD list for Netflix when Netflix still did DVDs before I canceled my DVD subscription.
Wow.
That's how long I had wanted to watch that movie but never seen it.
I mean, I had seen it in theaters. It was worse on a second watch. But again, it wasn't terrible. Like, I was like, no, it doesn't do it for me.
I think for you too, like, just knowing that, like, that stuff is not your preference, watching it a second time when you were already kind of, like, iffy on it, it's like, like, I see more things that I don't like this time around, whereas, like, Jurassic Park you've seen a bunch of times, I'm sure, but, like, it's a generally solid movie.
Yeah.
So you're not really picking it apart at this point. You're just like, yeah, you know what? Those dinosaurs actually look pretty fucking good.
Yeah, and I mean, like, to be fair, Jurassic Park, it's kind of hard to nitpick too much in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, like, you can, but at a certain point, you're just kind of being a dick about it.
Right.
And just to rephrase what I said, it's not so much that I was purposely picking things that were going to be bad. It was just, I wasn't really checking to see, like, if things were had any sort of well-regardedness to them or anything like that. It was just like, oh, this movie seems like it could be neat. Like, I've never seen this, or I wouldn't mind watching this again to see, like, if it is good or bad. Which was kind of like the Silent Hill thing. Like, I remember not liking the Silent Hill movie, but it was more than a decade later, and I'm like, maybe it's better than I remember it now that we've had a bunch of other really fucking bad video game movies since then.
I never looked up how a movie was received when I suggested one.
Okay, I mean, good for you.
No, like I don't.
No wonder all the
that
shit you
up.
picked is fucking no.
See, the thing is, I go into these with as little understanding of the movie and critical acclaim as I can when I go into it, because I want to formulate my own full-on opinion from a blank slate. And honestly, it's not like I'll mention a movie and then you guys will look it up while I'm mentioning the movie, more so than not. And then, oh, this is a low rating, this is a mid-tier rating. It's like, I don't care. This is the movie I want to watch because it's a movie that I've seen. And look, I have, even right now, a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 movies. 11 movies, because you guys aren't going to watch RRR. 11 movies that I want to watch, that I have actually figured out categories for a handful of them. More than half of them I figured out categories for when I make suggestions for categories. That, like, they're just like, I don't know how they are. I just want to fucking watch Birdman. I want to watch Day Shift. I want to watch Annihilation. I want to watch Walk the Line. I've never seen them before. I just want to watch them.
Ew, Walk the Line.
Biopics could be an option.
I don't like Joaquin Phoenix at all. I there's just something about him. Like, I cannot name a movie that I've seen him in that I didn't dislike the movie.
Signs?
I don't like Signs.
I've never watched Joker, so I can't.
I fucking hated Joker. I think it was such an overrated piece of shit.
I honestly was kind of against Joker, because I'm against Joker being brought further into the limelight, because he's a very shitty character.
And he's a shitty character in that movie, and that movie is just not good. Yeah. Like, it's a bad fucking movie. It's not that I think Joaquin Phoenix is necessarily a bad actor. Like, he gets into his roles. It's just, I've never seen a movie he's in that wasn't fucking garbage. At least to me. We'll say Birdman was actually pretty good. So was, you said Annihilation too, right?
Annihilation, yeah. That's with, what's her name?
Natalie Portman and,
yes.
Oscar Isaac. Yeah. Yep. That movie, very weird. Also really good. It's also based on a book.
Alien / extra dimensional.
It's,
that's the category we could go with for that.
That
Day Shift, vampire, modern fantasy.
Day Shift.
It's a modern day vampire hunting movie. It's a Hulu Netflix film.
Oh,
yeah.
But yeah, that Annihilation is part of like a trilogy. They just never made the other two things into a book, or from book into movie.
Yeah, and then Roadhouse on Netflix, because it's a remake of the original Roadhouse. So I wanted to do remake movies.
You can't watch a remake of Roadhouse. You can only watch Roadhouse.
We can watch them both.
No,
I don't know that original Roadhouse is anywhere.
Probably not.
Yeah, it probably not. You probably have to buy a fucking DVD for it.
And then the last one that I have a category for is Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story parody movies. Well,
that's a parody of a movie that I think is probably shit. That movie was actually pretty funny.
These are all movies that I'd never seen. Like,
You should watch more movies.
You should watch Walk Hard. That movie's fucking funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to watch it before we do it on book club, because then that takes away a book club option, because I'm not going to suggest it on book club. A lot of book club movies are movies I've never seen before.
You should watch more movies.
I've watched a lot of movies. It's just, look, things like Walk Hard and Walk the Line, like, those came out and you all saw them without me. Like, you guys all saw them. I might have been at work or whatever. I didn't have anybody to go see them with, so I just didn't go see them. Like,
I never saw Walk the Line because
Walk the Line might have been. I was still like early teens, and I just didn't have any interest in it. But now I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of interested in it. I
just don't care about Johnny Cash that much.
Yeah, I mean that too. Like, I understand he was like prolific and all, but like
it just never did it for me.
I mean, I only know like one or two. I really only know one song from Johnny Cash.
What song?
So it's isn't the song "Walk the Line"? Isn't that the? Or I don't know.
How does it go?
Ring of Fire is one.
There
Song.
you go. There you go.
Is.
You got one. I was hoping
gonna...
you were gonna say "Hurt."
Yeah, I was gonna be really mad at you if you said "Hurt." I'm just gonna let you know.
I don't know that song.
Yeah, it's a cover of a Nine Inch Nails song.
Yeah, he won a Grammy for a cover song.
Hold on. I have to send you guys a link.
And arguably, not even arguably, the fucking Nine Inch Nails version of "Hurt" significantly fucking better. He only won. I understand why he won it. Like, he was very old. He had just lost his wife. It hit an emotional resonance with the people voting. I get it, but no, fucking Nine Inch Nails should have gotten the Grammy for "Hurt" in 1995 when the Downward Spiral came out. Ugh.
Hasn't Trent Reznor said Johnny Cash's version is way better?
Probably. I actually just like the Nine Inch Nails version better.
I know Trent Reznor has, in some way, like, said he really likes Johnny Cash's version, like, and was and honored Johnny Cash fucking did a cover of it.
Exactly, and he would have absolutely had to approve that too. So it's like it's not like I'm mostly joking. Like, it's not like Johnny Cash just like took the song and won a Grammy for it without like any like approval. It's just more of a, man, why didn't Nine Inch Nails get any credit for this?
I mean, fair.
Because I think that was part of the thing too. It's like every time he won something or people talked about it, it was always "Hurt" by Johnny Cash. It's like, well, he just sang it. Like, the song and all of that it was written by Trent Reznor, guys. At least put a little cliff note at the bottom. But we've been talking about all this stuff for a while now.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to move along?
Sure.
Check your chat real quick.
I saw.
I did. I opened it up and I saw that it was Dragon Force.
There's a Ring of Fire covered by Dragon Force.
Yeah, I don't like Dragon Force.
I love Dragon Force.
Yeah, never like. I mean, everyone kind of listened to Through the Fire and Flames a whole bunch for like that 1 year, but like I never really got into any of their other music. They never really clicked with me. They're talented, don't get me wrong. Just never clicked. But in 2 weeks, at least Drew and I will have finished business. Rich will get as far as he humanly can before he inevitably burns the book in a ritual sacrifice.
I am giving the book to my dad. Maybe he has better reference to it. I was like, I could sell this. No one's going to want to buy this book. I'm giving it to my dad.
Actually, I'm curious, what quality did yours show up in?
It's fine. It's decent quality. Somebody bunny-eared. I guess that's the word. The pages.
Like turn the page corner down.
Yeah, cornered some of the pages. Dog-eared. That's it. And stuff like that. Like the under the lower the bottom of the pages. Some of them are a little tarnished, but it came in solid quality.
How's the dust jacket?
I mean, right now it's a little flattened because I took it off and put it off to the side because I hate reading books with the jackets on them.
I use the jacket as a bookmark.
I can't hold a book with the jacket on it. I have to take it off. Like, it slides around too much. It's something that I can fidget with, and so I can't do it.
But it's not torn or anything?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, mine, I bought like the same one as you, like the same like used one. My fucking dust jacket's all like torn and in kind of shit condition. I'm like, man, this said good quality. This is like okay quality.
Do you want my dust jacket?
No, it's not that big of a deal. It was just more of a like, man, the fuck Amazon. But yeah, so we'll be finishing this up, and then we'll pick something else. Maybe the actor strike will be done by then, and we'll go back to movies.
It'll be my choice for a book.
No, you picked Jurassic Park.
No, you picked Jurassic Park.
No, I said, do you want to read Jurassic Park since you had it already?
Yeah, you picked it.
What?
You picked Jurassic Park, and Drew picked this book.
See, I wasn't looking at Jurassic Park. Like, I picked it because this was your turn to pick. Like, I only said Jurassic Park because you had mentioned it a bunch of times.
But no, Cobb, it wasn't my turn to pick either. I had just picked the last movie.
No, we just watched Renfield before this. No, I'm looking at the thing.
We watched Boss Level, which was my pick, and then it became your pick, and you picked the
Time
doing music.
Okay, yeah.
And we did the 3 musics. I was last with the music, and then you picked Let's Do Books, do you want to read Jurassic Park? And I already had it, and I said, yes, let's read Jurassic Park. You picked Jurassic Park.
So, to be fair, I don't mind. It's not a big deal. Because I don't actually have a book that, like, I think you guys would want to read, because half of what I'm reading right now are the middle of a series. And frankly, they're very long books, and I think you would both try to kill me. But I was literally just like, you've mentioned wanting to read Jurassic Park like 4 times. If we're going to do a book, do you want to just read the book you've mentioned a bunch of times? That's the entirety of how I thought about it. So I've just been associating it with your pick this whole time.
No, I associated it with your pick because it was your turn to pick.
Cop picked for you is what happened.
Yeah, like, and it's not so much that I picked for you. It was just more of a, hey, you've mentioned wanting to do this. Like this was this was the thing you mentioned when you said, do you want to do books like a few weeks ago? Like, do you want to just do that? Like that was just kind of like where my head went.
Classic misunderstand.
Yeah, and like again, like it is super not a big deal, because like I was even thinking the other day, I'm like, I have no fucking clue what book I would pick if we still had to pick books, because like I have a bunch of stuff that like I'm kind of like reading in different stages, but I just don't think it's stuff that like either of you guys would like. You're not going to be able to get it cheaply or free for the most part, and a lot of things are like the middle of series, or like they're digital only because they're like Kindle Unlimited published stuff. So, and like both of you guys don't like reading digital stuff, so I'm like, man, what the fuck would I have either of them read? Jesus.
I mean, if I had I've been thinking of trying an e-reader to see how I would like finding like an e-reader.
Dude, it is wild. So reading Finished Business. This will be the last thing before we move on. Reading Finished Business as an actual fucking book takes me about double the time it takes me to read the same amount of pages on like a digital thing, and I don't know why. Like it makes no sense. I don't understand it. But like these chapters have been about 20 pages, and it ends up taking me 20 to 30 minutes a chapter. And it's not like I'm reading them at night before bed, so it's not like I'm getting distracted, like the TV's not on, there's not other stuff happening. I'm just reading. But like I pull out my Kindle or my phone or my tablet, and I like bring up like an ebook on there and read it, and I'm reading like 20 or 30 pages in like 15 minutes, like 10-15 minutes. I'm like, why do paper books just not fucking like go as quick? I don't get it.
I don't know.
It's weird. Anyway, Rich.
Ha.
What have you thought about Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War Cour 2?
I didn't like it as much as the first part. Overall, I thought it wasn't as well paced. It was very reminiscent of old school anime pacing.
Yeah.
And like part 1 was kind of this as well, but not as bad as part 2. Part 2 is just so poorly paced. Like, it's barely one fight per episode. Like, it's almost as egregious as Dragon Ball.
Did you watch it week to week?
Yes.
Okay. So it didn't hit me as poorly because we watched the first episode of the Cour up to, like I said, like episode 22 or so, all in the same day. Like we just kind of like I put it on like on like a Saturday. We just watched until we were caught up. On the dub at least. And like I agree, like I thought the pacing was bad, but it wasn't so much because of how long or how short some of the fights were. It was just like how oddly spaced out certain things were. Like and I guess spoilers for the second Cour for at least like the first half-ish of it. The fight with the guy that Rukia defeats.
Yeah.
Her using her Bankai and everything at the end felt so anticlimactic compared to what I feel like it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, it literally happened during the fucking end credits. And then, like...
her coming down from the Bankai was in the credits. And, like, you're right, it was less of a impact on, like, how strong this Bankai is.
Yeah, like, it's like, it was less than the last 5 minutes of the show where she used it. Like, they didn't even really let, like, that, like, the moment between her and her brother kind of, like, linger. Like, they like, I feel like the show would have back in, like, its original run. Mm-hmm. Like, that fight would have stretched out for, like, 2 or 3 episodes. Which would have been too much at that point, at being that long. But, like, I feel like it just needed a little more room than, like, finishing in that 1 20-minute period.
Like, when it comes to that fight, I feel like what it did do is it focused on how powerful she is in general without her Bankai. like it displayed how strong her sword is and how strong she is. And then it like kind of diminished how powerful her Bankai is in general by like it's throwing it at the stinger basically, like during the credits. But like one thing that I'm kind of bummed about, and it's probably just par for the course with this series or with this chapter or with this like arc, you've basically seen all of Ichigo at this point. Like this is a 13 episode portion of the anime, and you see Ichigo for all of maybe 20 minutes total across the last 6 episodes.
Yeah, no, like, that sounds about right.
There are full episodes that he's not even in.
Yeah, I mean, the whole first half of the thing, he's not really in it all.
Yeah, and I'm just like I obviously this is about more of everyone else, but like Ichigo got 2 swords, and I want to see him use his 2 swords, and I want to see him fight, and all this awesome shit, and you see him use Getsuga Gungsho once, and then it's like, oh no, he's not fighting anymore. I'm like, he could stop everyone in Soul Society, and then go, but no, I'm just like, and like, this is how Kubo wrote it, which is fine. I'm just like,
it's not 100% though, like, it's in line with it. But like even this part of the story, they were still taking their time with it in the manga.
Yeah,
like it wasn't drawn out in like an obnoxious way. But like that Rukia section took longer. Ichigo showing up and like the Kenpachi stuff. What is his lieutenant's name? Yurichu.
Yeah.
The little pink-haired girl. Like it was a couple chapters of her fighting. Like she fought that guy, that weird scientist guy for a little while. Like you got more of her sword and everything out of it. Like versus like 6 minutes of that episode before Kenpachi showed up and took over.
And she didn't even really get to fight. Like
yeah,
it was like that fight was very lackluster. He's just like, oh, you're now a cookie, and I'm like, come on, like that's boring.
Yeah, I think because they have and like that stuff happened in the manga, but there was more to it. And I think because they have a limited amount of episodes, like it's 4 cours of like 13 episodes apiece, I think, is what it worked out to be.
Yeah. That
they're condensing some of this earlier stuff that was spread out, and I'm hoping that means that they will expand on the later stuff that was very condensed in the manga.
But they added a fight this cour. Like they added a fight, or supposedly added a fight in this part of this series that wasn't in the manga.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one that was. It might have been the one with Soifan and her lieutenant or something. Because like I remember the Hitsugaya one, or at least I think I remember the Hitsugaya one. I definitely remember Rukia and Kenpachi. And then like Ichigo, I remember showing up. And like this is a weird nitpick because it's just like an unexpected thing for like a shonen. But I feel like when Ichigo showed up, and he shows up and then like literally basically teleports behind the enemies, and they immediately call him like a special threat more so than Kenpachi. He then goes on to not really do anything. Like he doesn't beat those 3. He doesn't really do any like serious damage to them because they just heal themselves. Mm-hmm. I feel like you should have set the bar with how strong he is now by having him take those 3 out very easily.
Yeah.
Then have all the other ones show up and have that be the point where the other Soul Reapers show up to be like, hey, go after the boss. We have this part of it. Mm-hmm. But instead they like have him kind of just start getting like tossed around by a group of people before everyone else shows up. I'm like, you haven't seen him in like 7 episodes. You end the previous section basically alluding to him being the strongest. There's even, I think it's the first episode of this cour where the flower coat captain, who I always forget his name, goes to the real world to basically tell his friends, like, hey, Ichigo might not be able to come back because he might be too strong.
Yeah.
If that happens, here are some passes so that you can come see him. Yeah. And then, like, he shows up and, like, it's not that he's not strong, it's just they don't show him being that strong.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm sure they're saving it for the end fights and things like that. The fight between him and Ishida, but like I want to see more of Ichigo. That's what I watched this for. Like he's the main character.
Look back to the original Soul Society arc. Ichigo kind of gets fucking beat to shit all throughout Soul Society. he came out on top most of the time, but still got his ass kicked over and over again.
Yeah, every fight he almost dies.
Yeah, and then like at the execution, he shows up exponentially stronger than he was previously. He blocks this super weapon with just his sword, just stops it dead, and then takes down 3 lieutenants without his sword, or 4 lieutenants without his sword.
Yeah.
Like, puts his sword in the dirt, and then knocks them all out. And then he goes on to fight somebody that's actually strong, and he struggles, and then, like, you see how far he's come, like, compared to this guy who's beat him before.
Yeah.
And, like, this time, like, you don't get that. You don't get to see just how strong he's gotten. And I feel like it's a weird trope, but it's very much a trope for these sorts of things. Like, every Dragon Ball arc, Goku does it. Like, when Goku gets to fucking Namek in Dragon Ball, the first thing he does is fucking beats Recoome in one punch after Recoome killed everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, Gohan and Krillin are nearly dead. Goku takes him out in a single punch. And then he beats the other 2 guys that were supposed to be stronger. Naruto does it during the Pain arc. Pain fucking levels the whole village. Kills tons of people. And Naruto comes down and takes out 2 of his paths in one hit each.
I think he takes out almost all of them before.
So he takes out almost. He does. He takes out all but one of them. But 2 of them he actually did in just one hit.
Yeah.
The other 2 he actually had, like, he strategized against them. Like, it wasn't brute strength though.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one he just let them. He let the one absorb all of his chakra, and because his chakra had all that nature chakra, it turned him stone.
Yeah.
But like that's just a thing for shonen anime. Like. And, like, you didn't do it. You let the guy get the power-up off screen, and then you don't show us the power-up. Because you know he's not going to go fight the fucking big boss and, like, come out on top right now. We're halfway through.
Yeah.
He's not even going to fight the guy under the big boss and come out on top because we're only halfway through.
And that's like, it's such a bummer where they left this part. Like, the last episode, you've already read it, so I'm not too worried about spoilers for you. But the last episode is the paintbrush guy fighting Yubak, however you pronounce his name, and you think he won. You think paintbrush guy won.
Oh, right, from Squad Zero.
Yeah, like literally the last thing you see, I'm assuming this was in the books, is paintbrush guy doing his hands clapping attack. And
I vaguely remember that stuff.
Getting smashed into that.
Actually, you know what? That may be the thing they added. Because I don't remember seeing him fight any of those guys. But it's also been, like, I read this stuff, like, pre-COVID.
Yeah. So it's like, that was, like, the last... They literally end with the big bad almost dead. And it's like, well, this is... Obviously, you know, he's gonna come back. And he's gonna be stronger. And he's gonna stop them. And he's gonna defeat them. And then Ichigo and his friends are gonna come and save the day. Like, obviously... You're gonna see that, but it's like, this is kind of a bad stop. Like, a good stop would have been maybe, like, Ewok showing up at the Soul Palace, and then stopping there, and then taking the next section to have all of the fights with Squad Zero, and then Ichigo coming to save the day at the end of that. And then the next section would have been the final boss fight or whatnot, but yeah, it's just, the pacing is very... And I felt the same way with the first part, it just wasn't as bad as it is in this part. Was there a zombie fight in the manga?
I don't remember. Like, I remember broad strokes of stuff and, like, the bigger moments. Like, I remember Kenpachi releasing his sword for the first time.
Yeah, and it's only his Sekai that he releases. It's not even his Bankai that he has yet.
Yeah, and, like, I remember Rukia doing her Bankai for the first time.
Do you remember seeing the scientist guy fighting?
No, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Okay.
I'm going to have to, I think after I finish this season in a couple of weeks when, like, the dub catches up, I'll try and, like, find, like, a list of all of the, like, what things were different between the two.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure somebody out there did, like, differences between the anime and manga and figure out, like, what was added, what wasn't.
Oh, yeah. You know for sure that happened.
Yeah. But, like, I'm glad it's finally being animated because it is, like, a cool story arc. But they are, like, I feel like they're doing the reverse of the manga's issue, where the front half of it was, in my opinion, like, fleshed out pretty well. And then the back half felt very rushed because it was ending and, like, it was canceled. So, like, they were like sprinting to the conclusion, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anything else you want to say about Bleach?
No. No. It's good. It is good. It's just like it is. Like I said, it's poorly paced.
Right.
I'm hoping. I didn't get to rewatch the first part before this part. I'm hoping before the next part to rewatch the first and second part, and maybe that'll like help like bring enjoyment into it. Because if maybe it is like a binge it all and you'll be great. Maybe that's what they designed it more for. The one thing I do want to say is literally the day the finale premiered, they released like a video, like a trailer for the next part, which I think they already have finished, and all the news sites everywhere is making a big deal. Bleach 1000-Year Blood War Part 3 comes out in 2024. Huge deal, because it's coming out in 2024. Nowhere does it have a date when in 2024, but it's huge news that the next part in 2024. What the fuck do they think this is, Attack on Titan? Obviously it's coming out next year.
Yeah, like
they already said it's coming out next year. Give me this article when you have a date, because that's all I care about. I want the date. I don't. Yeah,
they're taking about 6 months between parts.
Yeah,
because part 1 ran October to January ish. Part 2 ran July to September, October. So part 3 is probably going to run February, March.
I just want to know what 11, 12 week block I need to set aside to watch this. That's all.
Yeah, and like they'll announce it in plenty of time.
Yeah, but it's
like
just
it's not like
me,
they're not going to stealth drop it.
No, but like the fact that like every news article, oh, big news, Bleach is the next part of Bleach is coming out next year. Duh, it's coming out next year. Like what? But also at the same time, like, all right, we are kind of waiting a bit longer for the next part of My Hero. I think I can't remember when My Hero recent season ended.
The previous season came out in October and ended in spring. So, like, you'd think it would be coming out around now, but they haven't even announced. Like, a season is announced, but they have not announced anything about when it'll air.
Yeah, so.
But I guess last thing for tonight's episode, I went to the Emo Orchestra on Saturday, and I just want to say it was a lot of fun. And Drew, if you can somehow do it, highly recommend going to the one in AC.
When is it?
This Saturday.
I can't.
Okay. It's very short notice, and I felt like maybe you said you had something going on.
Yep.
But if it ever comes around again, highly recommend going. Rich, you too. Like I realize, like, for you, like 3 days notice is just not enough time. But like if they do it again next year or something like that, I highly recommend like checking it out. It's really well done. It's basically like it was 16 covers. Well, it was a 16 song set. They had an like a 15-minute intermission. The orchestra played every song with them. And all but 3 songs were covers, and they were all like, they're the covers you would mostly know. Like it wasn't any deep cuts from any bands. Like the deepest cut might have been the Death Cab for Cutie song they played. But they did like, sorry, somebody was going to say
that's arguably not a deep cut, especially in the emo world. Like Death Cab is one of the biggest emo artists.
No, I know, but that's what I mean. Like that's how like just known. Like I just brought up the set list. They did Ocean Avenue, Sugar We're Going Down, The Middle, Make Damn Sure, I Will Follow You Into the Dark, Until the Day I Die, Welcome to the Black Parade, Adam Song, The Taste of Ink, Misery Business, Miss Murder, Hey There Delilah. Like, even if you don't know the names of the songs, they're the songs where like when they start singing them, you're like, oh yeah, fucking this song. And like for Black Parade, they actually it was just the orchestra. So the orchestra came out after intermission, and they played the Black Parade. So it was them playing and just everyone in the crowd singing every word.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Like when they initially started playing, the conductor actually was turned around facing the audience and like conducting them, which was neat. And then for Misery Business, they're actually bringing up local singers to sing the songs.
Oh, cool.
So like JT left the stage, and they brought like a girl that's local that I guess they're doing stuff on social media where people can submit videos of them singing, and they're picking one for like each show to like come out and sing with them. And like the girl fucking nailed Misery Business.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was neat because they weren't just going like once like song. They were like telling little like anecdotes about the songs, whether it was like their relationships with the bands and like why they pick those songs for the set list, or like what that song maybe meant to like the scene or to fans of that band and stuff like that.
Okay.
So like there was a little bit more to it. And like it was a fairly short one. Like there's no opener, so like it started at 8 and we were home by like 10:40.
Cool.
And it was at the Keswick, so we had like an hour drive home anyway. But yeah, it was a very cool experience, and it was nice to be at a concert where you sat down. Mm-hmm. Because those Keswick seats are weird, but they're not uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But the other reason I wanted to mention this is because there's another orchestra thing coming up. They announced the other day that Stardew Valley is going to have a concert like tour, and I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's going to have a chamber orchestra playing music curated by the creator of Stardew, Concerned Ape. And
cool.
I don't know, like I know Stardew's popular. I didn't realize it was that popular. Because like you see those like orchestra tours for like Final Fantasy music or Legend of Zelda or Kingdom Hearts, but like to see like this game that was made by just one dude, is having like a worldwide tour, because it's not just in the U.S. Playing music from this indie game that like made millions of dollars, but still like indie game is like pretty fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like I honestly, because Erica likes Stardew so much, we're probably going to try and get tickets. It's actually at the Kimmel Center in February, in Philly at least. So
yeah, I saw you write that, and I looked it up. I might be trying to go to that with someone.
Yeah, I'm going to try and grab tickets on Friday. I will let you know how much they are.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case you don't like get a chance to check. I have a I'm remote Friday morning, and I have a calendar reminder to check it at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I've been talking to someone, but they live quite far away, so I just asked them, hey, hoping that we actually are still talking in February, do you want to go on a date? So we'll see if that works.
You plan that shit well in advance.
Yeah. And it goes on sale Friday the 13th, which means the servers are going to be down and everything's going to be broken.
Oh, man. You got so this has nothing to do with any of this, but you guys just might find it like ironic, let's say. So today was like the day that most schools did PSAT testing for like sophomores and juniors.
Okay.
It is also apparently the first year that they are requiring them to be done digitally, like online through like a website. Guess what didn't fucking work today?
The website for PSAT. Wait, so just the PSATs are done digitally? Are the SATs still done in person? Do you know? Because, I mean, you can really cheat on that if it's done at home.
So it has to be done at school. Okay. Yeah, so no, like they're not doing it like at home or anything like that. Like they have to report to a class. I mean, schools nowadays, they're all, like they all have laptops. Like literally like the school that I go to on Wednesdays, from elementary school, from kindergarten, they are assigned a Chromebook up through middle school, and then once they get to high school, they're expected to bring their own laptops, and most of them just have MacBooks. So like they're all on computers doing their work all day. Like all their stuff is submitted. Like papers are submitted via Google Docs. Like there are portals they go to submit other homework assignments and stuff like that. But like there is like a testing website that is for this thing, and it just didn't fucking work today. Apparently they decided that they had to do some server maintenance first thing this morning, and it just didn't get done quick enough. It's like, why the fuck would you do it the morning of? That means your shit wasn't working, and you were scrambling to try and get it up.
Seriously.
But the director of IT there, he had to call 3 different numbers before he got like somebody that could actually tell him that like it's just a major issue. And like their what's it called? Their like recommendation on the tech support line for this thing was have them just refresh the page a bunch and see if it works. If that doesn't do it, reschedule. And like that school has like it's a small well, it's not small, but it's a private school, and it's all girls. So like their classes are not huge. Like their graduating classes are like under 100 students usually. So like having like 100-ish students having to like refresh a page, not a big deal. But if you're like a larger school with, you know, like 500, 600, 700 kids in a graduating class, and you have 2 grade levels doing this, like there's no fucking way that you're going to be able to coordinate that many kids refreshing this page until it works and being able to start like at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was insane. But like, yeah, like just maintenance the morning of the testing when like you had to sign up for this test. So they knew what sort of user load they'd have. So they should have been able to have all this stuff like ready to go well in advance. But instead they just waited till like the last minute and fucked everything. And that's technology. It's like when Diablo launches. But yeah, that's probably a show unless you guys have anything else.
Nope.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, in that case, if you would like to find any more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there at $8, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. It all helps. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what is your streaming schedule?
Twitch.tv/B_walnuts for video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. We're still playing Dead Island. We moved to playing Left 4 Dead 2 because apparently everything in Left 4 Dead 1 is in Left 4 Dead 2, even all the levels and shit. So, Left 4 Dead 2 is just a mechanically much better game, so we're just all playing Left 4 Dead 2 now on Tuesdays, and still Sea of Thieves or, maybe some Dead by Daylight. However, I haven't picked which date yet, either the 20th or the 21st, we are doing a late night stream, probably starting around 9ish, and I'll be playing a spooky game called either Phasmophobia or Demonologist, whichever one I can get more people to play. It's like one of those ghost hunting games. It's supposed to be really scary. I'm going to have all the lights off, and I'm going to be spooked because you guys got 30,000 points in the Channel Point Challenge.
I was about to ask if you hit that, because I jumped on your stream the other day and I saw that it was pretty high, and I dumped as many of the channel points as I had into it. It was like 1,300.
I would have reacted if I had seen that. I didn't see that because you were probably doing when I was playing Dead Island on Sunday or Monday, and
that sounds right.
I had my chat covered up because Dead Island is so broken that I cannot leave the game screen and go into a different screen on my second monitor without crashing the game and potentially my entire machine.
Oh, that's a bad time.
It is so broken. It is so buggy. So, like, if I'm trying to lurk on somebody and whatnot, I have to have all my lurks set up. I have to make sure that I go into the game before stream to set up the game viewing in, like, this, in OBS. I have to make sure it's all set up before playing. Because if I try to go out of the game like Alt-Tab or anything else, it runs a risk of it bricking my system.
That's wild.
I don't know why. And there's no borderless windowed mode for this, which sometimes allows that, like, makes it so that you can actually exit the window better and easier. There's no borderless windowed. It's just either windowed mode or full screen, and the windowed mode, I can't actually full screen it in windowed mode, so it's just, I have to deal with this way. So, if I might have missed you contributing, but I think we got it, what day? Today's the 11th? We might have gotten it yesterday.
Nice.
But no, we got it Monday, I think. We got it Monday, less than 10 days, I remember. So I should have made it worth more, maybe 50,000 points.
So if you don't get a big enough group to play one of these, would you play like Amnesia or something like that alone?
I mean, I could. It depends. I've got all the Amnesias, but I only need like 2 or 3 people to play these ghost hunting games. They're supposed to be really scary, from what I hear. So like,
I've seen Phasmophobia get played. I don't think it seems all that scary.
Neither do I, but like, I'm not immersed in it. I'm just always torturing the streamer who's in it. So, like, there might
Yeah.
be things where, like, I might have also sound alerts that you can play to, like, try to scare me and whatnot. But yeah, it's going to be a fun time. Probably
Cool.
the 20th or 21st. I'll let you guys know for sure next week when I figure out what day.
Good job. And then I will. I'm going to New York Comic Con Saturday and Sunday, so next week I'll have some stuff to talk about.
Nice.
Yeah. But other than that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
See yas.